This is Super Yacht News with Yves Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Alright, so on my left hand side here we've got some footage. It's a very short clip of footage, but it is nonetheless. This is the new Jeff Bezos sailing yacht that we mentioned in the previous video. This is a 127 meters long, therefore it is the largest sailing yacht ever built. And it's brand new, and it was called Y721. It's recently been named. It's just done its maiden voyage, headed down to Gibraltar and then on to Palma in Mallorca, where she is currently sitting in the marina there. She's actually docked next to the Black Pearl, which is another massive sailing yacht, which I believe was previously the largest sailing yacht until Kourou came along. So the yacht is currently moored in Palma, but it looks like the yacht went out today, did some trials with the sailing, with the sails. It was at one point the AIS said underway using sails, and then it went to engines. Then it sat out for a while, and then it came back in. So it looks like they're doing a bit of testing, maybe a bit of training, crew training, because they're, it is a brand new yacht just come out of the shipyard. They're probably preparing for a boss visit as well. And we mentioned in the previous video also that he has a second yacht. He built two yachts. The other yacht, not a sailing yacht, motor yacht Abiona, the vessel is called, and this is a Damen Yachting support vessel. So this is a 75 meter support vessel, and that is exactly what it sounds like. It supports the main yacht, the mothership, and it carries the helicopters and all the toys and stuff like that. Well, this we said was crossing the Atlantic to most likely to join the mothership in Palma. And she's now in Gibraltar, most likely refueling after that transatlantic trip. And also the vessel already got its AIS set for its next trip, and it says it's going to Palma. So, no surprises there then. So in a few days' time, if you're in Palma de Mallorca, you will see his other yacht, Abiona, as well, joining the sailing ship. So keep an eye out for that if you're there. All right, so there's been some movement in Leith. If you'll remember, the RV Petrel, the research vessel Petrel, which toppled over in the dry dock facility there. We went up and filmed actually on location there a couple of weeks ago. We brought you exclusive footage. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the corner here. You can go and check that out. We flew the drone over there and got some exclusive footage. The news is that they brought in some massive cranes into the area, and it's most likely to do with removing things that were on deck, removing stuff that was in the basin of the dry dock when they were working on the boat, because they're going to try and right this vessel. But they're probably just using those cranes to clear the area. I could be wrong, but that's my guess on it anyway. There is an investigation underway. There is a local investigation. There are police cars still on scene there as well. But there is a US Navy investigation. They've sent over their own people to do their own investigation. Why the US Navy, you may ask? Well, this vessel is actually owned by the US Navy now. It was originally owned by, or it was previously owned by Paul Allen, the late Paul Allen, and he used it as a research vessel for finding old shipwrecks from World War II and World War I, etc. And now the US Navy own this vessel. So they sent over a team with the largest name, one of the largest names in the world, the Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, or NAVFAC, Engineering and Expeditionary Warfare Center. They are the ones leading the investigation for the US Navy. So it'll likely be some time before we get any findings on what happened there. But we will bring you a more in-depth update in the next couple of weeks. All right, so we'll move on now, and we'll move on to the yacht of the moment, which is motor yacht Alfa Nero. Obviously, you all know Alfa Nero is the yacht that was abandoned in Antigua by the owner, who's believed to be Andrei Guryev. And the US and a lot of other authorities have all agreed that he is the owner, although his lawyer, an English-based law firm who represents Mr. Guryev, has denied that he owns that vessel, and also, by the way, denied he owns another vessel called motor yacht Luminosity, which we're pretty certain he does own, although his lawyer is denying that. After seizing this vessel, the Antiguan government is now, we mentioned in the previous video, they're attempting to get the sanctions removed so they can actually sell the yacht. So they're taking bids for the yacht right now, with supposedly sealed bids for the yacht, but they're also unable to sell this vessel because it's still sanctioned by the US government, and that's going to take some time. Now, the news that came out about payments that the government must now pay, $28,000 US dollars, which is 75,000 Antiguan dollars per week. This is just to maintain the crew salaries on board, which is 112,000 US dollars a month, or 300,000 Antiguan dollars a month. And like I said, that's just for the crew wages. That's plus fuel, plus marina fees, provisions for the crew, food for the crew. So there's a lot of money there. Now, how do I know these figures? The Prime Minister himself, Gaston Brown, was actually on radio talking about this in Antigua, and he's the one who actually gave out those figures. Now, he also said that, this is why I said supposedly sealed bids. He also said that they've had offers. The port manager, he referred to the port manager has had offers for the vessel of up to $60 million. Now, if it's a sealed bid, it seems odd that people are going out and saying, well, we've had this much offered. More likely is that if you are interested in buying this vessel and you hear that $60 million has been bid, you're more likely to, if you really want it, you're going to think, okay, then I need to bid over $60 million, right? Now, it's possible they've had a bid for $60 million, but it's also possible that it's just being said to increase what they're likely to get for this vessel. Like I said, of course, they cannot sell the vessel currently, as we showed in a previous video where the government actually said that unfortunately we can't sell it because it's still under sanctions. And the Prime Minister did say that he's hoping it will take weeks to remove the sanctions, but it could take months. So that's a lot of money to be paying out, isn't it? That's 112,000 US dollars per month. And there's a lot of uproar in Antigua right now because there are a lot of hospitals and stuff like that where they don't have a lot of money, and a lot of them are complaining that this money is going to a yacht when they have other things that need it more. Now, one of the things we got a few comments on, but I'll use this one as an example. Phil Bamford asked, why are lawyers in London representing Russian oligarchs when they're under sanctions? And he's referring to the English law firm that gave us the statement that Mr. Gueyev doesn't own either of those yachts. Well, it's not actually illegal for law firms to represent sanctioned Russians. They are entitled to, entitled to a defense even though they're under sanctions. I don't know how it's going to affect those law firms. On the other hand, the fact that they are representing sanctioned Russians, should I say, I can't imagine it will have a positive effect. It's hardly going to be on their list of prestige clients if they have one on their website. But some of these law firms are just about the money, and they're not really concerned where that money comes from. Anyway, we'll move on to our main story, and this is about more sanctions being added to Mr. Usmanov, Mr. Alisher Usmanov. So Alisher Usmanov, he is the owner of the largest super yacht in the world by volume, and that is Motor Yacht Dilbar. Now, the stats on Dilbar will blow you away. 156 meters long, or 511 foot. Gross tonnage of almost 16,000 tons. She has a 25-meter swimming pool, indoor swimming pool on board, 2 helicopter landing pads. She can carry 36 guests and has a crew of over 80. Incredible vessel. Something really to behold when you do see her. I've made a number of videos about Dilbar in the past, before the sanctions, just mesmerized by how big this vessel was. The estimated current value of $735 million. Now, in 2022, we broke on the channel here that Mr. Usmanov had been placed on sanctions and the vessel was effectively seized in Hamburg. The yacht was in a Blohm + Voss, a dry dock facility in Hamburg, when the owner was sanctioned, and therefore all work had to stop on the boat. Everybody down-tilled, walked off. The crew were all let go because the crew were, the management company could no longer manage the vessel, and all the crew got fired. Now, Lürssen, they brought on a skeleton crew, and they're actually paying all the bills right now for this yacht. there's been a lot of investigations about Mr. Usmanov. We reported on some of them on the channel, some of them based around the fact that he's been basically living in Germany, and they raided houses and warehouses at the docks where the ship was kept. And now the US Treasury Department has put more sanctions on Mr. Usmanov, and this is what they said. They said Usmanov has at his disposal a wide network of businesses and in financial safe havens and family members through which to conduct financial transactions, enabling him to potentially circumvent sanctions. And the US Treasury has added 25 individuals, 29 entities with touch points in 20 jurisdictions. Now, there's a big list of sanctions there, and I will put a link below if you want to go and see the press release from the US Treasury Department. But there's a number of different things in Cyprus, in different parts of the world, like they said. Also, like some aviation companies, which is no doubt connected to his aircraft. And the one that we're concerned with is a Cayman Islands-based company called Navis Marine Limited. Now, if you look on the IMO database, the registered owner of Motiyar Dilbar is Navis Marine. And Navis Marine is owned by a trust. They've investigated who owns the trust, and they've taken it all the way back to Mr. Usmanov and his sister. Now, the address of this Cayman Islands company, Navis Marine, is care of Lursen Yacht Management GmbH. The fact that their address is given as the address of that company. The company that's in the Cayman Islands is most likely just a company by name. There's probably got a little post box there, and then everything is being directed to Lursen in Germany. I don't know how that is going to impact Lursen for operating this vessel. Like we said, they hired the crew on board, and they're paying all the bills right now. Now, if you think about what we just said about Alfa Nero, which is a much smaller vessel, they're paying $112,000 just for the crew, and that's just, they've just started to do that. Well, Lursen's been looking after this yacht for over a year, so you can imagine how much money they've been putting into that vessel. So, and they're not getting any of that back as far as we know right now. So that must be a drain on the finances of Lursen, mustn't it? As far as Mr. Usmanov goes, he's been sanctioned in Australia, in Canada, European Union, Japan, New Zealand, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. So that's a lot of sanctions, isn't it? Anyway, one of the news organizations that's been tracking this story, which a few of you guys have sent me, is CNBC. And they did a news piece on their website recently, and it was called US Imposes Fresh Sanctions on Financial Network Linked to Russian Oligarch Alisher Usmanov. And in that article, it's a good article. It seems to be, it seems to be accurate and everything. But in there's a photograph, what they purport to be, of Motiyar Dilbar. Now, when you look at it, you can clearly see that it's not Motiyar Dilbar. Now, the thing is, it's not really their fault, the people who wrote the article, because they went to Getty Images to get that photograph, and they've supplied an incorrect photo of the yacht. And I've seen this before. I've seen this photograph used to refer to Motiyar Dilbar, and it's the wrong boat. Now, what's interesting about it is, fair enough, they made a mistake. So I contacted the writer through Twitter, and there was a female, and I told her that you've used the wrong picture. I sent 2 photographs that we took of Dilbar, and I said, if you're in any doubt, look on the side of the vessel. You can actually see the name Dilbar on that boat. Now, this was about 4 days ago, and so far they haven't changed the article, so they don't seem to be overly concerned that they're showing the wrong yacht in that article. So yeah, very interesting that they don't seem to care. I mean, the thing is, if you make a mistake like that, it goes towards what else? What other mistakes? That's what people will think, right? If you've made a mistake there, what other mistakes have you made that we don't know about? So I think it would be a good idea for them to correct that. Now, I said they could use the photographs that I sent for free, or just as long as they credited us. We'll see if they change it in the future, but it's unlikely. If you are in too much of a hurry to watch a whole video here, you can now watch each story individually. If you go over to our new channel called Super Yacht News, It's also on YouTube, of course. You can watch these videos. We chop them up into like 2 to 3 minute sections and we post them on that channel. Now, if you want to find it, if you can go and type in YouTube at Superyacht-News, and that will take you straight to the channel. You can also find the link in the description below here. And also, if you go to the homepage of our main YouTube channel, this channel that you're watching on now, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see featured channels and you'll see it there, Super Yacht News. So be sure to go over and subscribe to that channel. And one last thing, be sure to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/eSysman. You will find videos on there, a series of videos called Patron Chat. You'll get exclusive videos not published on YouTube, like the Atlantic vlog series that we did recently. You'll get early access to features advert free, and you will get to suggest topics for future videos and ask questions for patron only Q&As. Another Q&A is coming up in the next week. So be sure to check that out at patreon.com/eSysman. If you've got any information about any of the stories here or any other stories, please be sure to get in touch in the normal fashion. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, and you can also get us on Threema. Be sure to like this video, very important. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.